Hi, and welcome back to my bikini prep without extremes. I'm about 17 weeks out now, and so backtrack. I decided to switch shows. I was gonna do one in June. Now I'm gonna do one in July, and it's just because the flight prices were about double. So in a sense, it kind of sucks because I'm back to like 17 weeks out. But in the other sense, like my prep pretty much is just kind of cruise, and I probably only have to lose like 4 pounds, so I'm I'm good. So today's topic is talking about balancing work, life, and prep. So it's probably one of the hardest things about competing. And if I'm being honest, this is where most people either burn out or go to extremes. And I've gone extremes, I know. Um, so I don't think it gets enough attention, like how to actually balance prep with a full-time job, a life, and then stay consistent without losing your mind. Because here's the truth: prep shouldn't be your whole life, but it can easily take over your whole life if you let it. And I'm guilty because that's how I've done my preps. But you do have work responsibilities, you have relationships, you have children, you have life shit, you have energy that levels that fluctuate, and still you're expected to train, hit cardio, follow your nutrition, pose, all of it. And then some people start to think, I need to do more, I need to push harder, or start feeling guilty. And that's when things become unsustainable. So I used to think the only way to be successful was to go all in. I would say no to everything. I would overtrain. I would let my whole mood depend on my body. Um, I would, my life would have to revolve around my prep. Granted, I would make sure that my kids' obligations and work obligations went first, but I had to get everything in. Um, and it probably made my whole experience harder than it needed to be. Um, so right now I'm trying to do things differently. I'm not trying to make prep my entire identity, and I'm trying to learn how to integrate it into my life instead of letting it take over. So before I go any further, I need to add that I do have consistent habits. I have staples in my nutrition in green, and I'm in a good body composition to handle prep this way. And again, although I don't know what my final outcome will look like, I am certainly enjoying prep and my lifestyle overall this time around. So if you're just starting off in your fitness and lifestyle journey, I'm not saying you don't have to change anything. You still need to have some good habits under your belt. I do have a freebie, quick bikini prep habits. I'll link below if you want to check that out. So how I balance prep is, first of all, I simplify everything. So I don't overcomplicate my plan. My workouts are structured every week. I also look at every week and then move my workout days around, like my son's sports or school obligations, to alleviate any last minute pressure. And my meals are pretty repetitive. I keep most of my meal staples, and I meal prep every week. Because the more decisions you have to make, the harder it is to stay consistent. So the only time I'll adjust meals or workouts is if there's something that comes up unexpectedly. So I've been tracking for years now, so I know how to make adjustments to my meals if I need to. And so, like I mentioned before, you do need to have some habits under your belt so you can make adjustments on the fly. And second, I focus on non-negotiables. So like what actually matters today. So like hitting your workout, getting your cardio in, and following your nutrition. Everything else is kind of flexible. Um, Third is I manage my energy, not just my time. So some days I have more energy than others, and instead of forcing perfection, I just adjust. Because pushing yourself into burnout doesn't make you better, it makes you inconsistent and probably slows down your progress. So if I'm sick or my body's not able to push through, I will take the rest day over forcing myself. So in the past, I never allowed myself this flexibility. So it's a nice change for me. So I'm not saying you should let yourself have an excuse if you're not feeling it, because you will definitely have off days. I'm just saying I don't believe in forcing myself anymore. And then fourth, I still live life. So I still make time for my family, my relationship, my downtime, and then things outside of prep. Because if your entire life revolves around prep, when it's over, I think you lose part of yourself if your whole identity is in that process. And I'm speaking from experience here because I'm an all or nothing person, perfectionist type. So I've gone extreme. And then fifth is like your mindset shift. So I stopped looking at like everything, I have to do everything perfectly. And I started doing what matters consistently. and that's the difference. You don't need extremes to be successful. You just need structure, consistency, and self-awareness. So at the end of the day, prep should challenge you, but it shouldn't consume you. So I've lived this way for my past 9 shows. And maybe I'm the only one who pushes this hard, but if you're like me, I just want to share that prep can be different. You can still pursue your goals, show up for yourself, and still have a life outside of it. And honestly, I think that's what makes this prep feel so different for me. So again, this is my part of my video series, if you can do a bikini competition without extremes, where I'm showing what prep actually looks like when you focus on balance instead of burnout. So if you're going through prep or thinking about it, I hope this helps you maybe see that there might be another way to do this. So make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.